What's up, YouTube? We're back. I got food in my belly. I'm a happy kid. We have comments. I actually had some pasta. I forgot I had some meat tortellini in the fridge. So I warmed that up, and I'm a happy kid as I continue cleaning my desk off. So we're going to make some firmware. We built the thing, and it's tall. It's very stable, but we need to make firmware to make this thing work. So let me just send a message to Dan, who's going to stop by and pick something up here today. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do this. Dan, the Boreal man. Let's see here. Done. Message me when you're close. Perfect. Okay, so we need to take the SD card out. It has a micro SD card. I have put power. It's plugged in. Can't see it. It's a giant printer. There's a thing there. What's up, Root? Ooh, the Belgians in here. So we got Belgian and Mickey and Thomas and Mark and Robert and Chris Travis and Bob and 3D Jimmy. It's crazy. So we're gonna insert this memory card. It's a micro SD card. It comes with a 128 megabyte memory card. Way more than enough than you'll ever need for the firmware. Let's get my keyboard somewhere so I can actually get to it. Let's actually clean off my desk underneath the keyboard. So, greetings from Alabama. What's up, Glenn? Okay, keyboard's more to my liking. Mouse is more to my liking. My chair is more to my liking. I'm a happy kid. Let me open up some programs in the background here. I don't need this. I don't need this. Yes, we're going to close that. Let's see here. We'll close this. And let's go ahead and do some screen sharing time. Screen share. Actually, wait. Yeah, let's go ahead and open it. I'm going to open up GitKraken first. GitKraken. What's up, Sergio? No, yeah, Sergio and Vince. I was like, I see HVAC, CNC, or whatever. I have no idea. View. Okay, so open up GitKraken. So let's see, entire screen, allow. Let's try that again. Share screen. I opened up later. GitKraken, allow. Whoop, widen this thing. So this is going to be hard for people to see, but I use GitKraken thanks to Keith. Here's all my builds. So SKR Bear, all the different variants, my own personal build, some test builds, and some for users that I've helped make builds for. Let's go ahead and take a look here. This build has a BMG and 0.9 on the XY, but these are different 0.9 XY motors. This also has a 320Z and a stock screen. So I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the stock firmware and go from there. So I'm just going to double click this, and we're going to create a branch here, and we're going to call this my builds. Yep, my builds, and then slash, and we're going to call this SKR Zaribo 320 and 0.9, because that will remind me 0.9 and BMG. Boom. So now it has loaded this SKR 320 0.9 BMG. So now I need to head over to PlatformIO / let me move this into this window here. And let's move it over here. Come on, move into this window. There we go. And widen this thing out. And can I make that smaller? Can I make this thing less? Oh, I can make that go completely away. Okay, cool. So stop that share screen. Let's head over to PlatformIO, INI. Boom. So we're in VS Code. And we're going to go to File, open folder. We're going to go to Documents and GitHub and Marlin and select this folder. And now we've loaded what I have in there. Let's close that. And let's head over to configuration.h. So basically all I've done is I've pulled up a firmware that I know that works. And I'm going to edit it. Let me widen this a little bit. Widen. How much wider? Good. Don't need this. Let me increase the text size a little bit for everybody. There we go. So hopefully you can read that better. Probably not the best to read. Let me move the chat over a little bit more so I can see the chat. So let me make sure this pulled up the correct firmware. And yep, SKR 1.4 pinned to stock. So this is going to be SKR Zaribo 320 Pinda 0.9 XY. Oop. 0.9 XY. Scroll down. Oh, this might not all fit on screen. Let me hide that. There we go. Yeah, Chris has Windows. This is Windows. I'm on Windows. All right, scroll down here. So this is already a firmware that I have working. So if you go to my GitHub, this will already be there. Link is in the description. I'm just kidnapped one of the working firmwares. I'm going to edit it from there. So everything is set up for me. We're going to call this SKR Zaribo 320 for now. And we need to change a couple things here. We have, let's see, come on. We have the slice thermistor, so that's 67. So 67 for the thermistor. Bed thermistor 1 probe is 1. And time to wait for hot end to settle. These all need to change. I have new settings for these. So this is going to be 2 seconds to wait for the residency time. 2 seconds to wait for the residency time. Proximity for temperature reach is going to be 1 degree. And temperature for close enough is going to be 2. I'll do, 2 degrees. 2 degrees. 5 degrees, 295 plus 15, 120 plus 15. PID tune, we'll leave that. We'll do our own from there. Cold extrusion temps, fine. TMC 2209s all around. That's good. We're going to do 200 steps on the X, 200 steps on the Y, and we're going to have 830 steps for the extruder. Default feed rate 200, 230, 80. Yep. Classic jerk is off. Default E jerk is 4. 0.01 for the distance for junction deviation. S-curve acceleration is going to be disabled because right now linear advance and S-curve don't work correctly in Marlin. So, yep, that's correct. Probe position's correct. Min probe edge is going to be... Ooh, I'm going to have to take a look at some other firmware here to compare and contrast. I've changed a few things. Z clearance deploy probe 0. This is going to be 2. Repeatability test. Probing heaters are disabled during probing. Probing steppers off, delay, disable, nope. I don't know if these are going to be correct, so these are the motor directions. I have no idea if those are going to be correct, but I'm going to leave them for now. The bed is 250 by 210. -4 Z-min position. Z-max position is going to be 320. And good. Software end stops is fine. Filament runout sensor is going to be disabled for now. I didn't have the wire extension set up for that. Auto bed leveling. We're actually going to use auto bed leveling first. Auto bed leveling bilinear. Restore. Enable fade height's fine. Segmented moves is fine. This is fine. It's going to be 7 by 7. We're going to extrapolate beyond the grid, and we're going to use bilinear subdivisions. This is disabled now. That's disabled. Don't need the bed corners. Manual home positions is fine. Z-safe homing is going to change. It's going to be, oh boy. I don't remember the term for this. Let me open up a firmware here in another window for myself so I can copy what I need. Oh, silly poop. There we go. GitHub.com/me. Go into my own GitHub, SKR bearer firmware, and we're going to go to my builds. And I think I need the Hemera build. That has the latest. My builds, Bear Mera. There we go. That has the latest Marlin changes for ABL. Configuration.h. Let's scroll down a little bit and take a look here. Some other changes here that I missed. Again, all firmware is in the middle of being changed around. So actually, the max is going to be 250 on X and Y for feed rate. So this says how many. So this is where a lot of people, like my printer, prints at 500 millimeters per second. Unless you change this maximum feed rate, it's never going to go faster than this. So no matter what your printer is telling you, you're not printing above this maximum feed rate. Just saying. So you need custom firmware for this. That extruder max feed rate is way too high. You'll never reach that. And yeah, 1250, 12400, and maximum extruder is actually be 10,000 because we are using a geared extruder. And acceleration is correct. And E-jerk 0.01. Okay. Screw acceleration is disabled. Scrolling down, scrolling down. Here's where we need to look at. We need to look at our probing stuff. So our offset is actually going to be 10. So this is just what area it's not going to probe around the bed. So it's going to be probing at a maximum of within 10 millimeters of the edge. 4. Homing feed rate is times 4. Probing is half. Let's see if I got any messages here from the Dan. Oh, 2 minutes out. All right, let me do this. I've got cameras all around my house. I can see when people are close or far away. All right. Oh, you should have. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to wait for Dan. He's almost here. So banners and stream starting soon and brand and boom. I'll be back. Who missed me? Nobody missed me. I'm back. All right. Get rid of that banner. Go back to the comments. All right. Let's see here. Shocking news. Okay. That's good. Probing is going to be 3. And let me make sure that these are correct. I popped out the firmware here to check everything against. 022, -2 is the final minimum. Relay test, deploying for stow. Probing heaters off. So this will disable the heaters when you're probing, because when you have a magnetic bed, when the heaters are on, you end up making an interesting speaker, which can mess up the fanciness. Let's take a look at this bed size stuff. Yep. And safe probing is going to be, there it is, X center, Y center. I always forget what that code is. So right here where we do our probing, we're going to do X_center, Y_center. Feed rate's fine. Don't do skew correction. Disable, yep, that's good. Keep alive, yep. PLA, PET-G, nozzle park feature is correct. I will verify that with my new settings. Nozzle park. Yep, that is correct. Zigzag pan, we don't have a cleaner on it. Print job timer, yep. Print counter, yes. English, yep. Prusa style screen, SD support, SD check and retry. Encoder pulse is full. Encoder pulse is 4. Encoder steps 1. Don't need to flip anything yet. Individual access homing menu. No speaker. Discount rep smart controller is correct. And let me just make sure I don't have NeoPixels on this one. So let's go to ADV. We'll have change some things here. So let's scroll down. So this is the advanced settings. I am not where I need to be. Scroll all the way up to the top. We don't need to do, this is where you do custom sensors. We don't have any custom sensors. We don't have any heated chamber settings. Thermal protection is correct here. 22, 28, 62, 22. Yep, those are correct. PID extrusion scaling, nope. So remember how we said we had a 12-volt fan? This is going to come in over here soon, I believe. So let's take a look at that. Here we go. So never turn this on. Basically, if you did this, it does a full burst. So as long as this is turned off, you're safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to define a PWM. We're going to start at, I guess we'll start at 10. Be our minimum PWM, and our max is going to be 128. So again, with these options, we can actually use a 5-volt or 12-volt fan. So since we have 24 volts coming out of the power supply, I got a cat. No. Since we have a 24-volt power supply, we have 24 volt running to every pin. So if 255 is 100% or 24 volts, 128 would be half of that. So let's go ahead and double check our math. 255 divided by 2 is 127.5. So what this says is I'm going to use a little bit, and it's going to max out that range at 12 volts. Because again, how a PWM fan works on this is it scales from 0 to 255, with 0 being 0 volts, and well, 0 being off, 1 being as low a voltage as possible, but 0, and then to 255. So at 255, it's outputting the maximum number of volts that the power supply is inputting into the board. So if we cut that in half, our maximum output will be 12 volts. So basically, we can use any any fan what we want using this. So we are going to shorten this down to 12 volt max, which is half. So this is how it works. We don't need the fast PWM setting, and I know people are like, scary, it's gonna, no, it doesn't. It works just fine. Dual drivers, yep, we have dual Z. And we don't need any of this bumping. We don't want quick home on, that's broken right now in this version of firmware. This is all correct. There's another section here we need to set where we're calibrating the, let's see here, LCD menu control, status screen has characters. Yep, this is all stuff that we're not going to mess with. If we had a backup power supply or use the Prusa PSU power loss recovery, this is where you would enable it. We don't have that. I think I missed what I'm looking for, and that's fine. We can miss that. And baby stepping is correct. So one of the fun things that you can do is baby step multiplicator for 10. Right here. Move Z idle multiplicator is set to 10 here. That means it moves by 10 millimeters every time you turn the dial versus 1 millimeter, which is painfully slow. Always make sure that baby stepping Z probe offset is combined. So combine 851Z and baby stepping, or M851. So that just means every time you set the baby stepping, it's saved as the Z offset, so that we don't need to do stuff. Here's where we need to change things. Let's see here. Min probe edge. Goodies here. Let's see what we got. Let's take a look at the prizes that we have in store for you today. Didn't think I changed anything here, but let's take a look. Configuration advanced.h. You scroll down, what line number is that? 1564. 1564. Here we go. So we need to override the mesh insets. So this needs to be all edited. This will change our mesh insets to make them work correctly with our bed and probe. Come on. Well, it's not. Well, our meshman is going to be 0, 0. It's going to be bed size and bed size. So there's that. Actually, you know what? We're using ABL. That's why this isn't working. We're not using UBL. G29 recovery, we don't need that. Let's see if anything's hopping up in the chat yet. What's going on in the chat? Yeah, no kittens here. It's a doghouse. Max, nope. Nope. Arc support, nope. Nope, we need to get to the stepper stuff. Lock buffer. Good. Timeout. Yep. Firmware retract. Yep. That's all good. Again, you can look at all the normal settings on my GitHub. Here's where we change things. So since we have 2209s, we have to change all these things. So our X and Y motors are now 1.6 amp motors. I'm going to start at 1 amp for both. And our homing current, I will start at about, we'll say 250 for each. We'll make that work. That's just a testing homing current. Scrolling down, the Z is still going to be 450. The extruder is different. This will be 500. This is the Bondtech BMG extruder. It is an 850 milliamp motor, so we don't need to push it to the max. Yeah, let's go to 450. So again, we're just getting safe values in here. I will change these as need be. Nothing is permanent. Stealth chop is good. Default chopper is 24 volts. Define hybrid threshold. We will disable hybrid threshold for now. We don't need that yet. We'll set these to 100 for each right now to get it centered. So it's from 0 to 255 for 2209. So we pick them about the middle-ish. Proved homing reliability is good. So that should be good. Let's go ahead and do one more double check here. I want to check something to make sure my ABL settings are correct, my auto bed leveling settings. Since I'm switching to auto bed leveling on this one just for testies. I am a little buddy. All right, so here we go. We're using auto bed leveling bilinear. That is correct. We are enabling level fade height, which means at a certain height, it's no longer going. It's going to gradually correct. It's going to gradually reduce the amount of correction until there's no more correction needed, and then it's going to go normal. And 7x7 grid. Enable. Yep. And extrapolate beyond the grid and bilinear subdivision 3. So that is correct. This is all disabled. This is all good. So let's see if this builds. So let's hit. Oh, you know what? This is a turbo. That's something I did not check. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and take a look at our PlatformIO INI. Yep, this is a turbo board, 1769. Is the chipset we're going to use. So that's the environment we need. So LPC 1769 is the chipset. So we change our environment to that. And in configuration.h, we need to scroll up and we need to change the board from 1.4 to 1.4 turbo. And if I spelled turbo correctly, that would be better. So SKR 1.4 turbo. Okay, let's go ahead and see if that builds. It might give me an error because I switched platforms on it. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So we got to hit this garbage can. That clears our PlatformIO. And hit build again, and that should make it work now. So if you switch between one environment and the other environment, you need to trash can it. So if you accidentally, build for the non-turbo SKR14, and you're like, oh crap, let's build this for the actual turbo, you're always going to get an error in the beginning because the source files have already been pulled. So since the source files are already pulled, it's going to try to build with incorrect source files. So you needed to delete all those, and all you do is go to the little trash can icon down here and delete all those files. And now, as you can see, it's building with the LPC 1769 sources. Minus it has to re-download them, so it goes much slower. All right, so hopefully we did that. So the one cool secret thing that we did was make sure to enable the what was I going to say? To enable the PWM fan setting. So we got to make sure that the PWM doesn't go above the voltage of the fan. So it's a 12-volt fan. We made sure to reduce that in that setting. So, and again, any yellow warnings don't really matter. Do not worry about warnings. The only time you need to worry is if you get a red line and it's like, haha, I can't build. The yellow ones are just, for you to figure out later and not break. So it built. That should be correct. So we have 0.9 degree. The build height was changed to 320. Pin to probe is correct. We're doing auto bed leveling. We did the 12-volt fan. We did everything else that needs to be done for this. So let's go ahead and see if this works. So stop our screen share. I'm going to move the binary file that was compiled and move that directly to the SD card. So let's go ahead and go to Documents and GitHub and Marlin and PIO, build, LPC 1769, and there's the firmware.bin. Check the time that it was made. Yep, 7:06 p.m. It's 7:07, so that built right before the time change. Delete the firmware.cur and eject the micro SD card. So here is the micro SD card with the firmware on it. We're going to stick that in here. Now, I've already plugged the power cable in. I don't know if the wiring is correct on the screen. We're going to find that out here real quick if that screen is wired correctly. But for now, we know everything is wired to the box. Right here, the fan is not going to blow up because we changed the PWM setting correctly. We don't have the kickstart time turned on. Again, don't enable that kickstart time because that kickstart time will send a full pulse. Bad juju. It's not something I turn on anyway. So let's see if that boots up. Let's see if the screen turns on. So the screen is not turning on, so that means one of the wires is flipped. But the lights are turning on in the back, so that's good. Now we have to let this run. So it's basically installing the firmware, but our screen doesn't work. And all that means is we need to pop the screen wires out. And to flip them, you need to cut the key off. So we're just going to snip the key off. And it usually launches off. I don't know why. And we're going to flip that key into the correct position, hopefully. And we'll take this key, cut that off, and put this thing on the correct way. There we go. Now the screen is going to be messed up when you do this because it didn't read the data correctly, so we need to restart. So restart from the screen. Marlin 2.0.5.3. And there it is, SKR Zaribo 320 is ready. Boom, we did it. So let's see if the axes work in the correct order. So the first thing you want to do is see if the axes work. So we're going to check the x-axis. So motion, move axis, move x-axis, move 10 millimeters. So if I turn it should go to the right if it's correct. And it does. So that is correct. Moves to the right, moves to the left. Okay. Check the bed. So move the y, move 10 millimeters. So turning it to the right should move it forward. It's moving backwards. Oh no. So that is backwards, I think. Let's find out here. So let's see if it homes. So motion and home y-axis. Hey, it homed. Okay. Move axis. Move y-axis. Move 10 millimeters. It is moving the wrong direction. Okay. Yep, definitely moving the wrong direction. So we need to change that. So let's go back to share screen. And let's go back to SKR Marlin configure. Oh, not that one. Allow. Wrong one. Stop share screen. Backwards bed boy. Share screen. And we need VS code. There it is. So we need to go back down here and scroll down. We are in configuration.h. So I just need to scroll down. I forget the line number. I am not Chris Riley. So invert Y direction is going to be set to false. X direction was correct, so we leave that the way it is. This is also, and then we're going to check the Z axis. So let's go ahead and motion and home Z. I'm not at the top, so let's go ahead and move axis, move Z, move it 10 millimeters. So turning it to the right should move it up. It does. So we did the z-axis is correct, the y-axis is correct. That moves great. Okay, so that's correct. Now I have a setting built in the custom menus. So we're going to go to the main, we're going to go to custom commands, and we're going to enable cold extrusion. So enabling cold extrusion just means that it'll let me turn the motor without heating the hot end. So I'm just testing to make sure it's turning the right direction. So I'm going to get a small piece of filament, which I know I have nearby. So let's get a small tag end of filament here. So we got a piece of filament here. And we're just going to test to make sure that it make sure we put it back correctly, because I don't want to lose that tag end of filament. So we're just going to get a small amount of filament. Go back to me. And we're going to go to motion and move axis. Oh, not auto home. Yeah, that's great. Ha ha ha. I just hit restart. Okay, motion. Where did auto home? Oh, I know why it auto home that way. Okay, move axis, move extruder. Oh, I restarted it. Let's go back. Motion. Going back to the main menu. And custom commands, scrolling down to enable cold extrusion. Okay, and we're going to go to motion, move axis, move extruder, move 10 millimeters. Let's go ahead and insert this filament. Okay, and see if it moves. So it's moving the wrong way. It's not sucking it in. So we need to go back. And we need to change the direction of the extruder. Good to know. And everything else should be correct now. So let's go ahead and do one more thing. So we're going to go ahead and auto home the X. So let's home the X and see if that homes correctly. Nope. So notice how it just jogs. So I'm going to hit home X again. Let me go ahead and put me big. So if I hit home X, it just jogs it and goes back. That means the sensitivity is too high. So it's doing a false positive. We need to lower the sensitivity. And so we're going to go to configuration and advanced settings and TMC drivers and sensorless homing and X. We're going to go down from 100. We'll try 80. Okay. Control, configuration, main, motion, home X axis. Okay. Perfect. So 80 is the value. So we're going to go back to configuration advanced.h. And we're going to go to our sensitivities. Our X-stall sensitivity is 80. Now our motor is backwards on the Y, so we can't go any further. So we're going to go ahead and power down. And while that's powering down, we're going to hit the build button. You having fun, Max? Let's see. So yeah, so we inverted the y-axis. The direction is moving incorrectly. We manually figured out what the homing sensitivity should be. 80 seemed to work. We're going to do that on the y-axis here in a little bit. It's still at 100, but we always want the firmware to know the settings. So that way when we do a full reset or something like that, we don't have to redo all this. So this is how we tune homing sensitivities and stuff like that. So this is what we do when we go to tune the firmware. So waiting for this to build, and now it should be easy. It should always build. So good to go. Dun 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 dun. Oh, firmware.elf. That's good. So I've already popped it out. I've already inserted it into the reader. So let's go ahead and do what we did last time, which is go to firmware.bin, check the time. Yep. Oh, it didn't read the memory card. Disconnect, reconnect. Need to find a better card reader. I have really good card readers for my other computers. Eject. And let's head back to where I can see you all. Reinserting. Okay. Let's go ahead and boot it up. And move back to me. I'm going to take a swig of water here. All right, we got our little piece of filament here. It's ready to go. So let's go ahead and do motion and home the y-axis. Sensitivity is too high. It just jogged a little bit. I'll press it again. So yeah, it's just jogging a little bit. We'll move the axis, make sure it's moving correctly. So move Y, move by 10 millimeters, move forward. Yep, okay. That's good. Motion, and we're gonna go again. I'm gonna go to configuration, and then advanced settings, and then TMC, and then senseless homing, and X. So Y is gonna, let's try 85 on the Y. We're just guessing numbers. Control, configuration, main, motion, home Y. Nope, sensitivity is still too high. We got another false positive, it just jiggled. So configuration, advanced settings, and configuration, advanced settings, TMC drivers. And let's go to 75. A little finer movement there. Main, info screen, yeah, there's motion. Home Y. Boom. Y is homed. And let's try the X. X homes. Let's try homing the Z. Let's try an auto home. Okay, we're gonna get a piece of metal and see if that triggers. Yep. So we'll do another auto home. And safe home is dead center of the bed. So if you're wondering why it home then moved to middle. Hey guys, thank Chris for this click like button. Heck yeah. So now we're homing. And I know it won't crash into the bed. I've not set the pin to probe height. It is the same height as the nozzle right now. That's what I do when I first build the printers. I set the pin to the same height as the nozzle. So if it's not working, it doesn't crash into the bed. Once I get this thing lowered, I will then get down and I will make sure the pin to probe height is correct. Okay. Let's go ahead and motion, and we're going to move the axis. We're going to move the x-axis all the way to 0. Okay, and we're going to see where the nozzle if it hangs off the bed at all. And it does slightly. So basically, I centered my bed. I didn't use the build guide for our Zaribo. What I'm going to do is I center the bed, and when I do the how-to, I'm building an SKR Bear. I'm going to make sure, or an SKR Haribo, I'm going to make sure that's my center point. Now I'm going to go to max, so I'm going to go to 250. I'm going to see if the nozzle reaches all the way to the end. And the nozzle does not reach the end, and there's some room left on the right-hand side. So basically, our Z offset, or our X offset is incorrect. So we're going to take a set of calipers, and we're going to roughly guesstimate what our X offset is here. So 0. And again, this is just a rough, you don't have to be super accurate. So it is 4 millimeters. So let's go back the main screen here. And this was 75. And our X min position is going to be -4. And that's saying that when its actual 0 is -4. So it's -4 off the print area. Same thing with the Y min. The actual print area is 4 millimeters forward of that. The actual print area is 4 millimeters to the right of that. So, and then it's going to, the maximum position to be 250. So it's going to shift everything over correctly. We're also going to take a look at the home position. So our manual X and Y home position is also going to be -4. So that makes sure that the nozzle is over the bed when you home. So good to go there. And let's build. And let's power this thing down. And let's go ahead and remove the SD card. Replace the SD card into the reader. Boom. Yeah, you could move it. Again, I've just always used a reader, but that's probably the smartest way, is moving it over by 1 millimeter at a time. Man, that is so smooth. Okay, so while we're doing this, we're going to set the probe height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the nozzle all the way to the bed if it can reach, and the probe hit first. Let's go ahead and loosen that. And lower the nozzle down. And we're just going to raise the probe up about 2 millimeters off the bed. It doesn't have to be accurate. We're going to find the actual Z offset height soon enough. So there's that. Make sure that's nice and tight. Good. Yes, Ewan, that's why it's offset. So you have more build area. You can print into that -4 space. But the actual print area is a different defined space. So the bed's actually 235 by 255, but the printer is actually 250 by 210. So you can't go all the way to the back, because if you did, you'd bump into the cover that covers the bed cabling and stuff like that. So there's a fan shroud somewhere. I can install that now. And I'm going to take a look at my Zaribo bits and steal a black screw from there, since I'm going to keep this black on black on black theme here. So you get a small M3 screw here. Small M3. What do I got? What do I got? M322s are not small. That's also not small. Do I have anything that's really tiny, like an M36? because that would be awesome. M36 would be great. Oh, there's a super small screw in here. I don't know what that's for. That thing's like an M34 or 5. So there's a couple of them. See if that's even long enough. Oh, it's not even M3. That's a M2.5. Yep. So I don't have a teeny tiny one. Let me check my box from the Bondtech parts bag, because the Bondtech extruder should have come with extra bits. I don't know where I put those. I think I might have put them in that same box. Let me take a look here. See if what's going on in chat. How's it going, Paul? We are almost firmware. We just built the firmware that we need. We're just doing a couple adjustments. So I've shown everyone how to do the magic and set the sensitivity for essentialist homing and all that fun stuff. Well, Chris doesn't have a tiny black screw anywhere, and I don't see that little parts bag from Bondtech that I had. So Chris is just going to grab a small silver screw. He prefers an M36 because it's small. And he'll raise this up manually so he can attach that. Now, I have not calibrated the Z-axis yet, but I will now that the probe is set correctly. Yeah, Llama. The silicone is too thick, and you're going to end up having gross bearings that are very, like, not, how do I put it? They're going to be, they're not going to run as smooth. They're going to be very gloopy. The silicone is a little thicker than it needs to be. Okay. Okay. All right. Firmware is done. Let's go ahead and move the firmware over. Check the time. Yep. Move it there. Delete the .cur file. Eject the card. Boom. Now this time I'm going to show you something a little different. So let's go ahead and boot this thing up. And make me the big one. Yeah, Llama. Yeah, I had a 10-minute Dan break. So even though installed a new firmware, the settings don't actually change anything. So things like the sensitivity and stuff like that, that's saved in EEPROM. So whatever the first time you install firmware is, that's what it is. So it's still going to be 100 on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my custom commands, and I'm going to go ahead and hit reset EEPROM. And all it's going to do is wipe the EEPROM and restore everything from the firmware. My firmware has the correct homing currents, or homing sensitivities and stuff. So that's all good. Let's go ahead and verify that. So we're going to go ahead and motion and auto home. So the x-axis is working. The y-axis is also working correctly. Safe home is working. And voila. It is homed correctly. So what else can we do? One thing that I love to do now that we're this far is I love to do a Z alignment. So built in the custom menu here is motion, scroll down to auto Z align. Auto Z align is awesome. So what it's going to do is it's going to home, it's going to probe to this motor and probe to this motor, and it's actually going to manually adjust. So what I'm going to do is kind of cattywampus this a little bit more so I can make it obvious what it's doing. Let me go ahead and power down. Power down. And I'm going to really skew one of these axes. So let's see if I can make it a visual issue here. It's really hard to do this because they don't want to be that askew. So there we go. So as you can see, one is much higher than the other. And they don't want to be like this because, yeah, they just don't. But I'm going to make sure this side is higher than the other. So again, this side's not raising at all. It's just bending a little bit. When I turn it on, that's going to lock in place because I've set to have the motors turn on manually. So now it's locked in place. It is cattywampus as can be. So let's go ahead and start the Z auto alignment. So hit this and motion, scroll down to auto Z align. So it's going to home. It's going to measure the center of the bed. And it's going to measure this side. And then it's going to measure this side. And then the motors are going to twist. So now it's slightly fixed the cattywampiness. So now raise this side a little bit. Now it's going to come here. If it needs to adjust, I'll raise this motor up. It didn't. Ooh. Nice, Justin. So yeah, it worked. So basically we have now removed that skew. So it has leveled off of the bed between the two motors. I'm going to cut the tag end off of this thing here. And we're going to go ahead and hit home. Motion auto home. I'm going to make sure it's in the right spot. Okay. And move axis. Move X. Move X. Yep, that's -4. Yep. Let's go ahead and move by 1 millimeter. So, yep. So 0 is there. Let's move this to 250. Probably should have done it by, and let's see if that made it all the way to that edge. And it is now all the way to that edge, but it's a little bit over. So I need to back that up just a little bit in firmware by 1 millimeter. So I was a little bit off. I should have done the technique that was told to me. So let's go ahead and go back to this. And boom, and this is going to be -3. And up here is going to be, where's my, there it is, -3. So I'm going to save that for, I'm not going to redo the firmware, everything works there. So let's try motion, and let's go ahead and move the Z-axis up. Move by 10 millimeters. Boom. And then we're going to move the X. So let's go ahead and heat this bad boy up. But first, let's check the fan. So main and temperature and fan speed does not kick in at 1%. Does not kick in at 2%. Does not kick in at 3 or 5. Ooh, 10. Nope, not even at 10%. About 14%. Nope. About 19%. Nope. There we go. Let's go to 100%. Woo! So fan speed. Okay. That's a very powerful fan. Holy cow. So one thing that was wrong, something we do have to change in firmware. Okay. Is some fan stuff. So it didn't want to start at the lowest settings. That means the minimum is too low. So let's go to configuration advanced.h. And let's slide up until we get to the part where we change all the fun stuff. So let's change that fan minimum time and stuff like that. So I need to become more like Chris Riley and memorize the line numbers. I just kind of know where it is when I see it, if that makes any sense. I just know it's above all this stuff. And here we go. So I'm actually going to lower this down to 125. That was a little much. So 50 to 125. Yeah, 120. It was blowing way too powerful. So save that and build. I have no idea what the first print's going to be. No idea. So we're going to build this, check the fan PWM again. Again, I've never tested a 12 volt Mechatronics fan before. So we're learning it now. Make Teresa pick the first print. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Okay, that's built. Need something around a very flat. What is that? A very flat version of the craziness. All right, very flat benchy. Okay, let's go ahead and move the firmware over. Let's go and delete that. Yes. Let's go ahead and eject. Good. Boom. Let's turn it on. Whoa. The fan is just staying on now. Come here. Come here. Come here. Let me take a look at something here. Oh, MOSFET looks good. The fan is angry at me. Yep. Fan is angry at me. So we'll fix that later. That's another thing to work on. All right, back to the main screen. All right, let's see if the heating works. Temperature, nozzle, let's go to 50C. So we'll go to 50C, main info screen, and it is heating up, and it is reading, and at 50C, this fan should turn on. 950, correct. It's not running because that's the minimum when you get a 1. So it's off and then on. Oh, you know what? You might be right on this fan. I never tried it with just 0. We'll build that and try again. That 50 might be too high. So that is working as expected. Let's try heating the bed. Temperature, bed. We'll go to 60 degrees C. The light turned on. And let's see if that heats up. 18 degrees. And climbing, 19. 20 degrees, awesome. Yeah, I think I set that minimum PWM too high at 50. So it's kicking in. Now it's kicking at full force, which is weird. So we'll work on that. It's debug time. Bed is still heating. Hot end is stable. It's definitely warm down here. The bed's definitely warm. Nozzle's definitely warm. Let's go ahead and heat the nozzle now to actual preheat PLA end. It's going to go to 190. The Mechatronics is a way better fan. Large ball bearing, way more powerful. So I'm a bigger fan of Mechatronics fans than I am Synons or anything like that. So all right. Make sure they did send me 12-volt fans. Hopefully they didn't send me 5-volt fans. I just didn't read it correctly. Nope, DC 12. And I've got a benchtop power supply over here. I'm going to go ahead and give this fan over here a test to see what the minimum and maximum range is. So, one of the cool things about having a benchtop power supply, you can test your fan range. So we'll see where it kicks in and kicks off. So let me turn the voltage down. We'll set it to 0 volts. 2 amps is fine. It won't draw 2 amps. Where are my alligator clips? Here they are. So no, you can't see this off camera or see this at all. And boom. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this Mechatronics fan over here. It's the same fan. I'm going to clip this here, clip this here. Okay. I'm going to hold the fan, and I'm going to turn it on. I'm at 0 volts. 1 volt, no on. 2 volts, no on. 3 volts, on. So minimum is 3 volts. And that's 12 volts. That puts out so much air. Blow away everything on my desk. And it's so quiet. So that's a 6,500 RPM fan with a ball bearing, big ball bearing. Ooh, that feels nice. Oh yeah. So 3 volts is the start. Draws 0.12 amps. Okay. We are at 190 and 60, and it's holding. And let's take a temperature reading of the board and the MOSFETs. 35C, 35C. Everything is well within spec. It's a Mechatronics fan, not a Sanan. Yeah. It's Mechatronics. Look at the size of that bearing in there. It's actually got a big ball bearing. They're very smooth and very quiet. They're made in Indonesia. Okay, so we know it heats up. We know the bed heats up. We know the homing works. Now we know that 3 volts starts it. So we need to figure out how, let's see here. So 255 divided by 24. So it's 10.6. No. 24 divided by 255. It's 0.09, so 0.1 volts. Okay. So 3 divided by 0.1 is 30. So the minimum would be 30. So we're going to say 25 is the minimum fan PWM. That should get us close. And max being 120. Let's see if that helps. I said at 50, which made it turn on. So close this thing down. And that should do it. The motors are running good. Let's go ahead and build that. Need to change my cheap. Yeah, you do. Okay, turn that off. Eject the memory card. Memory card back in. Boom. Oh. Need a few more gummy bears. I deserve it. Ah, that's good. Yeah, so Dr. Jekyll, I only had 24 volt fans were out of stock. They only had 12 volt fans. So that is what I used. Okay. Done, done, done. Let's go ahead and move that over to the SD card. So firmware move over. Oh, gotta delete the .cur file. And eject. And insert. And boot. And it's installing the firmware. And done. Okay, back to me. Now that fan is supposed to turn on. I'm still above 50C. I'm going to do a quick EEPROM reset. So custom commands, reset EEPROM. EEPROM value is restored. Let's plug this fan back in, see if it actually turns on. Come on. Come on. Huh. It just wants to turn on. temperature, fan speed. Okay. That's strange. This fan might not like that. But you don't want to bump it to 255 if you're using a smaller fan. They have that feature. And it's not constantly sending it. You got to remember, off is still off. DigiKey. DigiKey. DigiKey is your friend. I'm going to wire up this other fan real quick for a test and see if maybe I did something to that fan when I did the incorrect settings. Let me just grab a... Actually, where's my box of fans? Box of fans. Where are you? There they are. Box of fans. Should have some 24-volt Winson fans here. Yep. Hmm. Hmm. I think when I pushed that fan, I might have shorted something on the board. Doesn't look like I did. But I think it's. I think the MOSFET went bad on it. Oh well. We'll fix that later. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay. So we got that set. Hot end still cooling down right now. We need to make sure Filament will load. So let's go ahead. I have no real good way of running Filament into this thing. And the fan kicked off. And we're at 49 degrees. That's perfect. So that's running. We know that the homing works. I need to reprint this stupid. That's going to bother me to heck and back, knowing that these cables are just sitting out here in the open. Okay. Llamed it. Pretty much. I should have tested on the benchtop before I started setting settings on here and sending it to the board. All right. What's left to test on this thing? Because I can still print. They'll just print at a whole lot of power. I need to check to make sure the filament will load correctly. Let's see here. Let's grab something like this broken eSun box. And this spool of filament right here. Okay, there's that goodness. Let's grab this connector here. Let's grab some PTFE tubing. Let's see. That should work. Yeah, this is the one that burned out. Sadly. What's up, Mr. Daedalus? Let's see here. Insert tubing. Also, the loading of this spool holder sucks. I'll never buy one of these again. Okay. Boom. Not the most efficient thing. Let's go ahead and temperature and preheat PLA. Boom. Get that to 190. Actually, I didn't even need to do that. I can go to change filament, load filament. There's a load filament option. So now it's speeding to 190 degrees Celsius. Push this thing back a little bit more as I drop stuff from the back. We're at 135. $170. 20 more degrees and we'll be at a temp and we can load this filament. $3 degrees. It's slowing down now. It's getting all stable. 1 degree. There it is. It is loading. Let's move this printer over to here. And move this filament spool holder to here. Yay, filament's coming out. Yeah. Let's purge a little bit more. Ah, that's the noise. I thought it was the extruder was clicking. That's the ESUN box going click, click, click as the spool moves around. So I was like, there's no way that's underpowered. Continue. Okay, filament's loaded. Let's find an SD card. Shane, no problem, dude. Mr. Buttram! Okay, I now have a memory card in. Let's take a look what's in it. Oh yeah, we can clear this nonsense. Oh yeah, permanently delete those 14 files. Okay. Firmware's, I'm going to move that aside. Move that aside. Move Get Kraken aside. Oh, there's the chat window. Oh, Jose from Japan. What's up, my dude? Okay, close that window. Let's open up a slicer window. Bruce, a slicer. And of course, my normal test print is a cube. So let's go ahead and cancel. So stop share screen, Bruce a slicer, allow. Okay, so we're not going to use ABS, we're going to use PLA. SKR PLA and SKR PLA, and we're going to load a 40 millimeter cube. So 3D printing and test prints. Oh, not to print. Test objects. 40 millimeter cube. I always print one of these first to make sure it just works. So we need to change the perimeters to 1. No top layers. 3 bottom layer. We'll do 2 bottom layers. And infill is going to be 0. And printer settings. Machine extruder 1. Nozzle diameter 0.6 millimeters. And retraction, that's going to be a little long for a mosquito. So let's do 0.5. 0.4 is typical, but we have a bigger nozzle. If Z is fine, retraction speed's fine, blah, 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 that's fine. Let's go ahead and save this as SKR Bear. Actually, SKR Zaribo. SKR Zaribo 0.6 mosquito. Okay, filament settings. That's all. It's all fine. Cooling is fine. Advanced is fine. Filament overrides. Don't need to do any of that stuff. K factor is fine. Print settings. They're just test settings. Uh, 40 millimeter let me see a little bit more of the issues, if there's any, because I like to be able to see the layers. Mind you, I'm using slightly transparent filament, so it's not a big deal, but no top, speed's fine. I need to do the advanced, so default extrusion width is going to be 0.65. First layer will be 0.62. Perimeters will be 0.65. 0.65. 0.65. 0.65. Output options. SKR PLA 0.6. Mosquito. And platter. Let's take a look at this. Yep. That's a cube with no top and no infill. 32 minutes. So we'll send that to the SD card. Yep, see SKR PLA 0.6 mosquito, 40 millimeter cube. Oh, we have to do something else. This is a Zaribo. Printer settings. Maximum Z height is going to be 320. So that changes a little bit. Export, save. Eject SD card. Okay. Well, the fan is weird. I'm going to go ahead and do that manually. Would that 24-volt hot end fan work on? Nope. No, it will not, Carlos. Because it's only if it only outputs 5-volt max on the INC board. Print for media. And boom. And print. You know what? That's not going to work. Versus a dummy. There's another change that he needs to make. So this uses ABL. So I stole the wrong thing. So in the custom G code, this is set for UBL. So I need to steal an ABL. So let's go ahead and Control A, Control C, go back to here. What is this? All I did was copy and paste. Or all I did was copy. SKR ABL. Control A, Control C. That's all I did. Okay, and then I left, and then I go here. Yes. Control A, Control V. And ABL. And print settings changed because I left. So SKR PLA. No, because it's a 0.4 millimeter. I hate this thing. Okay. Machine limits, dependencies. I hate this nonsense. So I got to go back to a regular 0.4. Print settings. I got to make a new one for a 0.6 millimeter nozzle. The only thing I hate about this nonsense here. So when the nozzle size changes, this is dependent on nozzle diameter 0.4. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Save. That way it doesn't matter what nozzle size I need. Advanced 0.65, 0.62, 0.65, 0.65. Oh, get off of there. 0.65, 0.65, 0.62. Extruders 1.1, speed's fine, support materials fine, skirt, blah, 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 infill, it's fine. So we're going to change this as SKR PLA, mosquito 0.6. Okay, output options, MOS 0.6, capital MOS. Okay, layers and perimeters, save it again. Okay. Okay, perimeters, 1, 0 for the solid layers, infill. Come on, infill, 0. Everything else should be correct now. Come on. I said 0% infill. There we go. There we go, 32 minutes, export. Cancel, need this memory card. Darn you, Prusa Slicer. Save to SD card. Save. Eject. Okay. All right, we're back. Recommend motors for scratch bear builds. Looking at the, it's like taller ones, 0.9. If you're using an INC, those 0.9s are going to be tough. If you're using an SKR build, then yeah, that's what I'm using on here. Please. All right, let's go ahead and print from the media. And what did I name this thing again? File, not file. Print settings, output. So it's MOS 0.6. Okay. And print. Okay, now this will work because it has the proper bed leveling built into it. Yep, Overlandish. Yeah, if you're using the SKR Turbo, then you're good to go. Dan, you're back home already. You're so crazy fast with all your new things. I keep missing the garbage can. The garbage can used to be dead center behind me. It's to my left now, and I keep throwing it to where it was dead center behind me. It's over there now. Must remember. Let me see if I can get there. I hit the garbage can. Don't worry, I do eventually clean my floors. All right, so right now the sequence is to heat the bed to 65, the nozzle to 150. It's then going to do all the homing. 3 hours. No, Carl, remind me tomorrow morning. And then I'll get your stuff packaged up, because I got to package up some orders for CFP to G prints. So I can make it nice and easy. Okay. So it's going to heat the bed to 65, heat the nozzle to 150. I'll do a mesh bed leveling. The reason I do that in my profiles is the nozzle stays cooler. That way when it's probing all over the bed, it's not leaving little goobers everywhere. After it's done, it'll home in the corner, heat the rest of the way, and do all that magic stuff. So this will just take a second. I have to manually turn the fan on. So on the once the third layer goes, I'm plugging that fan in manually. Super fun. The fan might die. I think I busted the MOSFET. It's set to always on because Chris set that setting completely wrong. 0520, that's fine. 0520 is fine. I won't read it until I wake up, but 0520 is fine. Because I won't be streaming tomorrow. So now home. Man, those bigger motors are nicer for homing. I gotta tuck these LCD cables away. So now it's gonna probe, and it disables all the heaters while probing. Yep, the bed strain relief is awesome. That is quiet. That's way quieter than any of my bears with these 10mm rods. My next thing is while that's going on, I'm gonna go slice a print to send a printer. Yep, there's CFPTG in that printer. I'm gonna print a few of these strain relief caps that I forgot to print. Dun 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 dun. It makes a nice little thing. So this is 7x7 bed leveling. I have not set the Z-Probe offset, so I'm going to do that real quick. Once this thing is at home, I'll go to the tune menu and get it like halfway there. Spring steel strips are used to support the wiring on the tool chain. I do not know. This thing looks like it's so far away because of the camera angle. That should be it. 49 to 49. Yeah, that's way quieter. Okay, now we're going to go to the tune menu and Z-Probe offset, and we're going to go down, I say. Okay, that should be about close. Strain relief, it's already on there. So there's a bed clip back here with strain relief. There's a clip back here for strain relief. Basically, it allows it so that way the cables don't twist and bend at the actual point where the motors are, which is a good thing. We don't want those strain reliefs right at the motor end. We are 2 degrees Celsius away from starting. And go back to the Z-Tune menu. Get on the Z-Probe offset button. I'm going to go lower. Still going to go lower. There we go. Should probably clean the bed before I started this because I think the greasy fingerprint goodness is getting to this. Yep. Greasy fingerprint goodness is taking over. Get off of that nozzle. Okay, let's go ahead and do a pause here. Let's see, main. Pause print. It's all spooling up on the nozzle right now because it wasn't sticking to the bed. Oop. Nobody don't stick your finger in that fan. Okay. I really need to clean that bed. Nothing's sticking to it. Yep. Gonna go and stop the print. Stop the print. Stop the print. Print aborted. That's just faster. All right, get off of that, you big glob of red goo. There we go. Yep, that's warm. Yep, that's also warm. Okay. Let's grab a towel and some isopropyl alcohol, because that didn't stick at all. Okay. Your blue tape wouldn't have worked. You'd been sitting there blue taping for like an hour. Yeah, it's definitely the frequency. Okay, let's go back to changing some things, or printing some things over here. Delete, yes. Open file, downloads, and where's the Zaribo parts? Zaribo Mark III Master. STL, 10 millimeter. Let's see, x-axis. Cover. Motor holder cover. There it is. Open. Yeah, I know I've printed you before. I'm going to print 2 of you. In some... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. They don't really have a tall bear specification, but there's a 320Z tall bear. I have a 250 millimeter tall bear that I'm working on. So SKR bear, SKR CFPTG, SKR CFPTG, boom. Yeah, you didn't scroll down far enough, Carl. So export G code and save. Yeah, see, 3D Jimmy is the one person who actually needs to print in caps. He has bad eyesight, so the caps. A lot of people are like, stop going in caps, and it's like, no, he can't actually read if he doesn't use caps, or it makes it harder for him to read. We all don't have that 20/20. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, let's go to the printer. So we got to go to, is that the correct printer in there? That is the correct printer in there. And Zaribo parts. And upload G code. Yep. Order covers. Printing 2 of them. Print. Ooh. Yeah, so TechnoRat, all 3D makers, I believe, or OEM 3D, I can't remember the name of the website. One of them has a taller Z upgrade for the Z-axis. And then he'll use the motors from the Zaribo build, the taller, which I believe also are on that website. Oh, the printer's bouncing up and down because this back foot isn't on the pad. There we go. Okay, tune. Probe Z offset. So pretty close to -1 millimeter. That's where I'll start. -1 millimeter. Okay. That's right, OEM 3D has the motors. All 3D has the taller extrusion, even though it's the same guy. So, yep, info screen, 5 degrees away. Tune, probe Z offset. I want to be excited about math again. Hey, look at that, sticking to the bed finally. Just need a good cleaning. I don't gotta do nothing, llama. Ain't gonna do it. Ugh, that thing makes so much noise when filament's going through it. Hey, -1 millimeter looks almost spot on, so. I do have to turn the fan on manually. Super fantastic. unlock this. Boom. Oh yeah, good first layer. I always use two separate, so I have one in E1M and one in the regular Z spot. So it is a true dual Z. That is a fine first layer if I did so myself. What's up, Sean? What's up, Rosie? No, this is my second stream of the day. I just wanted to get this thing working and get a first print going. So, that's all. Don't mind me, folks. Let's see. Yay, the other printer's starting. So close to starting. Oh, beautiful first layer. That's what we like to call first layer porn. First layer porn. Trim this stupid thing to remind me to print those ends. I am printing those ends. I don't need that little purple thing hanging out. Oh yeah. That is definitely quieter. Yep. Definitely quieter than your regular Mark III. There you go, Dan. 3D printed flexible cat. It is more like a striptease since you guys can't see the first layer. Look at that. Oh yeah. It's louder than a mini, but we're also a bigger printer. So the bed makes a lot of noise because it's such a large surface area. So you're going to get a little bit more noise out of the bed. And my fan is far more powerful. So I can trim the max blower fan here on the side. It doesn't. I don't need this crazy beefy cooling fan, but it's what I have. Yeah, and I'm like right here. It is a sexy looking printer, isn't it? And that Bondtech 0.6 millimeter nozzle is printing beautifully. Getting closer to. Hey, this is a 320 millimeter Z height. It is still kind of small compared to some of the biggins on the market. All right, that printer's going. That printer's done. I got some fresh CFP2G parts over here. Oh yeah, look at that. Man, that looks nice. Okay, I'm gonna go pop these prints off. Let me make sure I have enough cord here before I go over there. Oh man, those are nice. Oh, those are nice. Oh, the fan is going. Okay. Humidity is at 13%. That's printing beautifully over there. It's already running, guys. Don't worry about it. It works. It's spinning. Oh yeah, those are some good layers. Do you know the perpendicular correction on Prusa firmware doesn't work anyway? But you don't. I don't have it enabled, but Marlin has it. It just doesn't work. You're better off squaring your printer than you are fudging with it in firmware. Oh. CFPTG prints. Atomic CFPTG. So pretty. Now I just got to bag it and tag it. And start the next print. I have a black screen with red lettering. It's on that printer. It's just hard to see from a distance. Red CFPTG is coming in soon. Should be here Monday or Tuesday. Retraction is a touch high, but we can fix that easy peasy. Build the... Not band-aiding it in firmware. Oh, you're talking about build it? Okay, now I know what you're saying. Correct, you should always build it correctly. I mean, you really can't build a Mark III out of SKU, can you? Like, it's all the parts fit together. You can't fix correctness anyway. That was probably a great feature if you had a Mark 2.5 or Mark II, where the frame was all weird and boogly. Okay, what do I want to do here? I was going to do something. Let me go back to the firmware that we were working on, or the profile we're working on. So SKR Zaribo ABL. Okay. Filament settings, CFPTG, CFPLA. Where's the SKR PLA? There it is. Mosquito. Cooling advanced. There we go. Adjusting settings, undo it. Marlin is way easier to program because it has things spelled out for you on how it works. You can just, right in the firmware, look and it goes, this is what it does. It's blue tape lamp or is it blue smoke? All of the above. Okay. You and I have no idea why they're doing that. You should yell at them. Damn you, seagulls, flying rats with wings. zoom in here. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Layers are looking good. How to add movement to the end of a Y homing command. So wait, you want to home and then you want to move you want to move away from the end of it. So like a bump, basically you want to hit home and then move over. You must explain. Yeah, you're not wrong. I gotta say it's a mighty fine looking cube right there. Seagulls are pretty big. We get them not around here, but if I move a little bit. Let's see here. My buddy just posted, help settle this marital dispute. Should I learn violin or accordion next? See what Twitter is doing. 20. Oh boy. Oh yeah, Chris Travis. Ooh. Beautiful Venom, Mr. Chris Travis. Let's see. Pretty PLA. What? Uh-oh. Someone sent me a photo of their dinner. Anything else I miss? Nope. Didn't miss anything. Nope. Nope. Good to go. Ooh, check that. My wife walked in the garage here. I was and saw Chris walk in and said, "There's the only." I don't know if I think the only stream besides mine that was today was Ooh, I cut into Fun King 3D today. I apologize. Oh, that is a really nice looking cube of Doom. I just gotta say that. That is a very nice print. And that will be the only print I'm doing. This is way too much streaming for me. Ooh. You know, this printer's about the size of a large Chihuahua. So I know I've already patched. Can I get a wrench? Oh, come on, Griscolata. Always need wrenches. And this guy gets a wrench. And this guy gets a wrench. I'm just going to start adding moderators. Let's see here. Let's remove the wrench from Llama. Yep, there we go. There we go. That should. There we go. These spanners. For the homing offset, but not for an offset. It needs to know it moved, let's say 10 mil. What? Carl, I have no idea what you're asking. For the homing offset, but not an offset, it needs to know it has moved, let's say 10 millimeters. Good night, Davey. That's true. Llama only uses blue tape. I didn't make him a blue mod. I made him a blue tape guy. Octoprint on a Pi shouldn't help an 8-bit. Clipper will help. So Clipper on a Pi. 3D Jimmy wanted a wench. I'm sorry. I misread your vibes. You were sending me vibes to the internet. I thought you meant wrench. Boy, printing a cube is boring. But it's my favorite thing to test to make sure the printer is working as it should. Ooh, he's got to tune it. Oh, it's so smooth. I know I shouldn't touch it. Devin, I took an hour break for lunch or dinner. An hour break for dinner. But once this cube gets a little bit higher, I'm going to end it. I can already tell it's printing just fine. Well, let's go ahead and end it. So stop print. Yep, the retractions are a little off because they're high for the Mosquito. Typical Mosquito retraction is about 0.4 millimeters. Oh yeah, okay. Let that cool down. Get the old hard light on here for me. I need harder light. Where's my harder light stick? Haha. Nice. Top layer is perfect. Bottom layer is as good as it's going to get. Let's take this thing off. So I want the axis to home, 0, then move to 10 millimeters and not 0. Then when a print starts, it'll move down from 10 millimeters to start. Oh, you want Z home to be Z equals 10 millimeters. You just want to change line number, Visual Studio Code. You want to change line 1354. You're going to change that to 10 millimeters. Define manual Z home position. Red is so hard to see, but she's as clean as it gets. Smooth top layer. And that's the retraction issue because I used the wrong retraction settings. What's up, Paul? Layer bonding is good. Corners are sharp. I think we're ready. Just going to do one more quick layer evaluation, see if I need to do anything. I'm going to check one thing. Yep, my belt on the X is loose by a lot. So that was one issue that I'm seeing in the print. That's about right. It's so crazy how quiet that is. All right. Well, we got the firmware working. We got a first print working. We're good to go. Chris is calling it a day. Appreciate everyone hanging out, doing their thing, enjoying the day. It's been a long one, but we finished wiring, we finished doing stuff, we got it working, it printed. Yeah. So basically, we're good. Now we're gonna go and relax. So, good night. Hopefully my next stream won't be for a couple more days. So, yep. Good night. Happy modding. Stay out of trouble, and we'll revisit this thing once I get a bunch of prints printed on it. So, I'll see you all on the social media webiverse, I think.